I was 14 months old when Dave was born, so I literally don't remember life. Up until 2005, I had no memory of life without him. He was the light of everybody's life. You know, anybody who came into contact with him, I always felt that he made everybody that he came into contact with want to be a better person, you know, in his presence. They wanted to be smarter, wittier, funnier, just the best versions of themselves.
Dave is just the type of person that you'd walk into a room and you'd notice him. People are listening to him. He was the center of attention. And it just felt good and you felt happy being around Dave. He was just a great presence.
Because David had an incredibly good sense of humor and was sharp as a tack. As I said, he was, when he got into the room, everybody knew he was the smartest person in the room. And it was that way throughout the whole year. I think the section bonded really, really well together, and David was at the center of that. He was enormously compassionate about everybody else, and worked hard at being sure everybody was doing well.
The field of law often draws very intelligent people and also very organized people who really sort of are detail-oriented and really sort of like to have all aspects of their life in control. And I think that sort of personality oftentimes can breed depression because things spiral out of control and you don't know how to fix it.
You're kind of living in a fishbowl. You know, you're comparing yourself to, you know, the person alongside you in study group or that sort of thing. And the fact that you don't necessarily have, you just have a final exam at the end of the semester. I think all of those things sort of combine to create, in certain people, a tremendous amount of anxiety.
Stress and anxiety is really, it's actually in many ways a hallmark of the legal profession. But I think it tends to be most powerful among law students. People are younger, they're still trying to figure out their place in the world. Grades are a real focus. There's a lot of competition. They're in an environment in which feedback is limited and in which many people, all incredibly able, are competing for the same thing. And the kind of person who goes into law is often very focused in on success and focused in on achievement. And so it's a real recipe that just makes it a very stressful time.
Like I was working through part of law school part-time, like in internships, or, you know, like at law firms as a law clerk. And so, you know, it's basically all of my time that wasn't spent working was spent studying, and there was like very little room to breathe. And I think a lot of law students feel that kind of same pressure where they're juggling a lot of things at once.
Remarkable things about the Dave Nee Foundation is that this is an issue that every law student and every lawyer knows about, but nobody really was doing anything about. And so when people experience stress in law school, they often think they're alone. They think that they are experiencing this in a uniquely powerful way, and they internalize that. And so that the stress is bad enough to start off with, but then the sense that they're alone makes it dangerous and sometimes life-threatening. And the Dave Nee Foundation is really a leader. It's the first group that I know of that's focusing on this issue of depression among law students.
I think one of the things that's important about the foundation and the work that you're doing is it lets folks know that there are resources out there. And that, I think, is awfully important. I also think shining a light on it. is something that's awfully important. Getting it out sort of from underneath the shadows and addressing it sort of head on. It's an issue. It's not an insurmountable issue, but ignoring it really isn't the way to go around.
I think Uncommon Counsel was really helpful for a lot of students, especially like the first year law students. Like a lot of them were telling me how, like they were like, your Uncommon Counsel's talk was really helpful to them, and they felt like someone finally like understood how they felt. And some of them were actually talking about like forming little support groups where they could just talk to each other about their feelings and like what they were going, like the stresses of law school and what they were going through. So I think that Uncommon Counsel made a really like valuable contribution to the Fordham community.
You've opened up the door to a dialogue about depression, about stress in law school, about being in your early 20s or mid-20s or late 20s, going through this very tumultuous period and dealing with what is effectively an illness that affects a lot of people.
I mean, I think the biggest thing that I would like to see is for the work of the Dave Nee Foundation at Fordham to become a model across the country and to offer the guidance that it provides to students at Fordham for the students at every law school in the country.
Missed the last train.